Okay, so a bunch of you have been reaching out to me asking me for my opinion on the eFormula, which is Aidan Booth's new program that he's teaching people how to a new way how to sell wholesale on online. And of course, he is using the biggest marketplace on the planet, which is Amazon.com, where we're having 65 million visitors a day, which is just insane traffic. And that's what actually gives this business model an edge, because you end up selling high demand products using free traffic on the biggest marketplace that exists. And that's on and offline, by the way. So it's very, very compelling. And there are so many things going in favor of this business model, which is why it's just stirring up the industry right now. And timing is perfect because things have never been easier or better set up to do this business model than they are today. So it's basically with the eFormula, it's a new, superior way to sell physical products online. And if you do or are planning to sell physical products in 2024, this is without a doubt the smartest way to do it, that has the least risk and the least hassles. So what I thought I would do is just share my screen and run through the program with you so that you can get a better idea of what it's all about. And just in the background here, I thought I'd put Aidan's little promo video on. He's actually going to be running his webcast from Dubai next week. So that's kind of cool. But what I've got on the screen here in the background is his book. He just wrote a new book about this model. And basically what we're going to go through is like the main reasons why this is so superior. And one of them is that you don't need to have a website. Another is that you don't need any branding at all, or no large minimum order quantities when you do get to the point that you're actually purchasing product from suppliers. Delays and guesswork is all taken out of the mix. You don't have to worry about any of that. You don't need employees or deal with customer service or have to do social media or any of that. So there's a lot of really, really good advantages to this particular program and this business model. And what you're basically doing is finding high demand products that you're going to buy at wholesale and sell at retail. And the trick is to have a system where you're actually able to tap into an existing roster of suppliers who are willing to sell wholesale to people. Because not everybody does, but a great many do. The thing is that reaching out to them to this point has been quite laborious, and it's been one of the things that has really kept people who want to do this wholesale model maybe experiencing a little bit of a challenge, because it just is repetitive and it just takes time to reach out one by one to all these different wholesalers, these suppliers, and do that. And that's kind of like there's two old ways of doing this or two old ways of selling online or selling on Amazon that are completely wiped away when you're doing this model. And the first one is private label, which I'll talk about in a second. But the second one is this wholesale model done the manual way, which is what, if you've heard of anything outside of what Aidan Booth is doing, it's the manual way. And there's a lot of things about it that make it just a bit steeper of a hill to climb. It's not that you can't get it done. You certainly can, and you can sub out and hire a lot of help to help you along the way. These are some of his star students. But it is a little bit more difficult. And today, one of the biggest advantages we have is AI. And there's so many ways that we can utilize that in any business model, not the least of which is this one, that can reduce that confusion or those laborious steps that you've got to go through. So that's kind of exciting. And the traditional way that you would be looking at trying to sell products on Amazon is by doing it private label. And that is, I'm just going to skip ahead on this slide here and show you what we've got written down with that. With private label, this is where you would basically go out on your own. You would use some system to pick what you think is going to be a good product and a high selling product. You would then source it and find yourself a manufacturer or supplier and put in your orders, which are usually going to be high minimum order quantities, because when you're doing private label, it means you're slapping your label on that thing. So instead of, this being called a Jiffy Cup, it's called, Susan's Go Cup or whatever you would do. Usually the suppliers, they're not going to put your label on unless you're going to do a minimum of usually several hundred units in order to make it worth their while and to create the mold that they need to put your label on there. So it's quite a bit of a different, much larger venture. You then, when it's done, you're shipping, international shipping, you're dealing with customs and duties, seriously. And if your shipment is delayed for any reason, or you don't have a large enough one to have your own container, which is most likely going to be the case, you're going to be sharing a container, and depending on what's in there, somebody else might be getting inspected, or you might be getting inspected, and that might cause a delay, and you might have to pay extra fees and demurrage. Like there's so many things that you have no control over, or potential, even if guessing could happen, that would cost you time and money. So it's a super, super risky way to sell any physical product online. And once you've even done that, by the way, and you've got your product, let's say it's in America, you're going to do the online or the .com, you then got to get it either to your private warehouse or to Amazon. You've, in the meantime, while you're waiting, you've created your listing page, you've done all this keyword research, you've done copywriting and made sure you've got all your words and search terms seeded through your listing. Now you've got your product in, and you're going to put it up there, and you're going to compete against everybody else who's selling that same product. And that's tough, especially if you're going to have choose a product that is competitive. It's up there and making lots of money for a reason. And the people who are already there on those top slots and top pages, or the top page, let's say, because page 2 is basically non-existent. Do you ever scroll to page 2? Not very many people do. You're going to be neck and neck in competition with them, and you also have to find a way to get your stuff ranked. So that's the challenge, right? And the last thing that you usually run into is the potential of running out of inventory, which is the kiss of death on Amazon, because as soon as your inventory runs out, your rank will drop like a rock. So and that's a problem, right? So these are challenges, and that's why that model, the private label model, is so risky. It's not to say there is huge income potential, like massive, but you pay a huge price for that. Believe me, there's other business models that have nothing to do even with physical products that have the same earning potential, maybe even more possibly, without all of that risk and hassle. So it's a matter of, what do you really want? You know, some people just have their heart set on building a private label brand. And if that's the case, you know, then that's what you can expect to have to deal with in order to get there. But the whole reason we're on this platform is because it's, you know, they have 56 million products on Amazon actually. And with those, not every single one of them is going to be willing to sell at wholesale to somebody, but a lot of them do. And it's nowhere near saturated. There are like thousands of products out there that are good potential money earners for people. And being on Amazon, I mean, they did $500 billion last year. It's and $65 million a day. That's that churning huge mechanism that it is that drives that's that free traffic that you're going to get. And you might not quite understand how the free traffic works, but let me see if I can kind of explain it to you here by using this example on the screen. Here's this football, right? Now, let's say that you get in touch with the supplier and you agree that you're going to buy them for $10 a piece, and you know they sell for 20. And let's say you buy 20 of them, and you get yours listed here on Amazon, and you sell through your 20, and you've made your profit, which is $10 a ball, and you've got $200 to go ahead and do again, or put into a different product, or whatever the case may be. And you might be wondering, how does that actually work, that you get this free traffic? And I would like to explain that to you. And basically what you're doing is you are selling by way of what is called the buy box, because they don't show the buy box on these pictures. But basically what you've got is Amazon, their prime directive is to the customer experience. They want the customer to have, they will, you know, do anything they need to do to increase the customer satisfaction on the platform. And that's why they're where they are today. And that's even at the expense of cutting the throats of private label sellers, which they do left, right, and center, by the way. But what they have is something that's called the buy box. And when you're a private label seller, you might not have that on your own listing, because you probably aren't giving people the right to sell your product at wholesale, because that's not your business model. Your business model is selling your product at retail. But all the other brands, like for example, the football we just saw, the Wilson football, or think about, you know, Nike shoes, or anything like that, right? You've got this brand that's selling and creating these products, and they're selling them everywhere. You can go into Walmart and find the Adidas shirt. You can go into Sport Check or other sports stores, or all kinds of places. You can go online to Amazon or to other online platforms and find these branded products. Why are they doing that? Why are they selling them all over the place and not just in their own store? And it's for a lot of reasons, but not the least of which is that they're spreading the risk and out in more places, which is in the end going to give them more sales. The same is so on the platform, on the Amazon platform. When you have the buy box here, it automatically gets rotated by Amazon. That's where the free traffic comes from. You don't have to pay for ads. You don't have to do social media. You don't have to, you know, rank your own keywords or get your own listing page ranked on these on top of page 1. You're already going to pick a product where it is ranked. You see, that's where the genius of this method comes into play. And then Amazon, because they want to provide the best service for their customers, is going to automatically rotate that box. And there will be other sellers in there, other resellers is what you're called when you're doing this wholesale model. And if I was to log on and try and get this miter saw stand right now, maybe I would land on the buy box would be on your listing. And 10 minutes later, if you logged on, it might be on the next person, or the next person, or the next person. It's just every one of you is going to get a piece of that pie, you see. So the whole point is to find a way to find the products that are selling well, that have inventory problems, which they almost all do, because it's hard to keep inventory, and it's a real challenge, a balancing act to do that. And then to find one that is not already overloaded with, you know, dozens and dozens and dozens of other resellers. There are amazing tools today that can help you do that quite quickly and effectively. And that would be not the manual way. That would be a much more smooth and efficient way to do that. And that does exist. But I want to remind you too that underneath this video is a link to Aidan's webcast. He's going to be doing it live, and it's going to air at different times. He's going to be on all day. So click that link and get yourself a seat, because this is actually, it's not going to be here for long, this opportunity. And you may have noticed, if you've been trying to find other online businesses in the past, that it'll be gone before you know it. And maybe you missed out. And that often happens while you're thinking and trying to decide, is this right for me or not? And what I would like to suggest is that the only way you'll know for sure is if you get all the information you need to make that decision. And in order to do that, you need to scroll through this book yourself. You need to sit and listen to Aidan explain it firsthand in his webcast. And that can both of those can be done by going ahead and clicking the link and getting yourself a seat. It's all free right now. There's always limitations with bandwidth and capacity. So don't wait. If this sounds like it's of interest to you, go ahead and get your seat now. And if you have other questions, you can always reach out to me. My email is below, and let you know too that I will be sharing a few more videos with you over the course of the next week or so that will continue to answer more questions and hopefully clarify this business model, maybe even a little bit further. It won't be right for everybody, but if you are somebody who is either already selling physical products online, or it's something that you thought you really want to do, that's your business model that you really want to give it a go, this is, like I say, the smartest way to do it. And I say that because Aidan has specific tools that can be utilized for this to make it so much faster and so much easier to do. In addition to that, he's also got in his software, he's got actually a list of vetted suppliers in the United States who are waiting for you to ring them up and say, can I be a wholesaler of product A, B, and C? They're already sitting there waiting. He's also just recently acquired a 40,000 square foot warehouse in Texas, which is very strategically located in the States, where if you want to utilize those services from him and let him be your shipping and fulfillment center, it'll all happen almost seamlessly. You can pretty much just go online and do this, and you can do it from anywhere in the world. Yes, they are physical products, but they're products that you don't ever have to physically handle. You can do this from anywhere in the world. Just know that there are lots of little shortcuts that have been implemented, the tools that are available to us now that simply were not here this time last year. So go ahead and watch that now, and I'll see you again on the next one. Thanks. Bye.